Okay.
Yeah, welcome back. And sorry for the audio quality in the last episode. We had an issue with a webcam and just, it should be better this time.
We didn't realize it until after everything was finished that we messed up real bad. Okay. Anyways.
So this week we're talking about chapters 17 through 24
Yes.
of A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. You know, eventually we're going to know how to pronounce her name.
Not yet.
Just not
probably
today.
never ever. Okay, so chapter 17.
Chapter 17. The very first thing I wrote down was, what the fuck?
So I think this is the chapter where she started having all these dreams about everything that was like happening.
Yeah. And I put, so she, in quotation marks, is creating some kind of fucked up Frankenstein, or is she just ripping apart fairies for fun? Like, what is happening? this elusive she that we keep talking about.
Well, and here's the thing. So it said blood red nails across her throat, like her, like it's like her mind or something is I honestly thought when I first read this, like, man, she is messed up, like something, like she thinks everything's out together. But then I thought, well, what if it's like, what if someone is actually trying to get to her?
Oh, okay.
Like telepathy or
right.
something, and is like kind of getting into her dreams or her head and like is making her think this.
I kind of went the opposite way. I was like, is this like a repressed memory?
Oh. What?
Like, is this like a repressed memory that it's something that's happened to her in the past, and so she's like just remembering it in her dreams?
I also kind of wondered too, when she looked at the cauldron in the last few chapters, when she looked at the map, she saw like a female like holding up the cauldron. I was thinking that what if she was implying that was the blood red nails coming across her? So like whatever creator was holding that. Tamlin's being controlling again.
Yeah, Tamlin is just
page 153.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was like, it's too deadly at night for you. I'm going to walk you upstairs. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, well, and then, so Lucian is squeamish.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. And then, like, Feyre is starting to realize, I think, that the fairies aren't that different from herself. No?
Like, maybe they look different and they have, like, obviously abilities, but really, though, they're, like, not.
Right. And I think she's starting to kind of realize that, because she was like, I would want someone to be with me. I wouldn't want to die alone. I would want somebody to hold my hand. And that's why she stayed with the dying fairy. And then I said on page 153, Tamlin and Feyre are actually a lot alike. Yeah. And that's probably why I don't like either character. They both get on my nerves.
Yeah, they both definitely have their moments, because like she's super protective over her family and he's obviously controlling over her. And okay, listen, if you witness all the crap that you're witnessing and you see that this fairy's being brought in with like wings being like ripped off, like, give her some closure. I get it, you got to do this alone. I get it, you want to go bury him alone and do like whatever you got to do, but do something. Oh, that was weird. Do something that helps her like move on, like cope better with this.
Yeah, what? Is the power going to go out? The lights keep flickering, and now I'm worried the powers are going to go out. But anyway, yes, I agree. That's all I had for chapter 17.
I had a little bit more. I put like Tamlin appears so solitary. I get he's part of the seasonal courts, but I'm like still I'm really wondering why he cares about other courts when he doesn't appear to really give a shit about them.
Right.
Like he'll sit there. Because, okay, like later on in the books, you'll find out that the seasonal courts are, like, in cahoots with each other, and that I want to call them celestial, but it's not that. The night, the day, the dawn courts, I believe that's it. They are, like, well, we're basically part of the same kind of thing. We're not seasonal, so, like, we're going to band together kind of stuff. But, like, he just doesn't seem to care about any other anything, any
Yeah.
other thing.
It seems like he just cares about like specific fairies, not the actual like
General population.
yeah.
That's all I had. I just think he's kind of a dick.
Yeah. I mean, I for sure I agree. So is Feyre. So there's that.
Anyways,
Chapter 18.
So so page 157, Tamlin and Lucian take her to a glen. So she's describing this glen. Very pretty, all that kind of stuff. But I honestly just couldn't get it out of my head. Like, all I could imagine was Belle from Beauty and the Beast after she gets done singing her like little part. And she's like, "Me? Mary Gaston?" And like she runs away to the field and like she's just sitting there and then like blowing dandelions or whatever.
Yes.
Like that's all I can think of when I hear her read this description. That's all I got.
Oh my gosh, yes. So, and I like how Tamlin is like looking for her approval of his special place. Like this is his special place. It feels like he wants him to tell her that he likes. I had a lot for this chapter. What do you mean that's it?
Oh, like that was it for that.
Oh, okay. Okay. And then I put on page 158, I did not have my sticky notes with me, so I did not mark the quote. But I wrote, Lucian is such a dick. I love him. Because he said something about like giving them space or where does it at? Let me see. Oh, I might die of surprise. You made a joke, Feyre. And then she's like joking back. I just love Lucian.
I think it's so funny because it's like she's been through so much trauma and you're just like, get a funny bone, Feyre. Like, God.
Right. Like it's
like, listen, Lucian, you've had like 500 years to like cope with whatever crap you've gone through. Like, she's only 19. Leave her alone.
And then on page 159, after he's told her that the pool is a pool of starlight, I said, if you don't jump in the damn pool of starlight, who tells you this is a pool of starlight and you don't jump in right away? Like, my first reaction would be to jump in. Like, what?
You're probably the first to die in horror movies.
Probably.
Because honestly, I'd be like, yeah, that looks cool, but are there like mermaids under there that's going to like me out?
Right. Well, I don't know. Like, I feel like if Tamlin's like, we used to come here all the time and he's like taking off his clothes.
He's the High Lord of the Spring Court. No one better touch
jump
him.
in that water or that starlight. I'm finna jump in that starlight.
I put on page 60, I was like, I don't get why people assume the bond will just click into place. Like, even after a while, I think it's just instantaneous, like love at first sight, because he made a comment about his parents, like bonding and like caring about each other, but they were so wrong for each other. Like, mom was perfect in this, but my dad was evil and blah, blah, blah. And I like know like throughout the story, like a lot of people were like, yeah, we're just waiting for the bond to click into place. And like Lucian was waiting for his bond to click into place with this like lesser fairy. And I'm like, I feel like it's an instantaneous thing.
I feel like it is, but didn't they say, I don't remember exactly where, but didn't they say that like they have to be like a certain age or something?
Not in this book that I remember.
Maybe not. I could have
maybe in a different universe.
Could have pulled that out of my butt, but
I mean, honestly.
But yeah, like I hear what you're saying too. Like, who knows? Maybe the stars have to align or something before they can click into place. But page 160, learning about Lucian and his lesser fae like lover.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jesus Christ. Like, I don't even worship that man, but Jesus.
Right?
Like, no wonder he's such a dick. Having the woman he loved killed in front of him because he loved her by his family. Like, talk about trauma.
Yep.
That
and
is
you like the Autumn Court.
That is like some Romeo and Juliet level shit. Like,
I know. And it's funny because when I asked you, what's your favorite court? Probably Autumn. And I'm like, Autumn. Okay.
But I don't actually know anything about the courts. I just like, as far as the seasons go.
Yeah, that's true.
If I was just thinking of the weather, that would be where I would want
honestly, though, weather, totally Autumn.
Yeah.
But the Night Court.
I don't know anything about the Night Court yet.
I didn't either, but I still liked it.
But remember, I'm a sunshine person.
That's true. All right. Anyways, So for page 162, I put, oh, this is basically what I said earlier. That you'll see later, but like some courts are not well liked, and the seasonal courts seem to have like a weird relationship with each other. But they also have like this strange kind of relationship with the solar courts. Solar is the word I was looking for earlier. So Tamlin made a comment about like something about moonlight. Oh, um, he said not stepping away. What about the ringing of blue bells or a ribbon of sunshine or a garland of moonlight? I feel like he has such a deep hate for a lot of their courts, maybe not like well known at this point, but I just feel like his solitary lifestyle is just like, why would you say moonlight? I feel like you like hate every single thing that's not spring. But why
Right.
would you like, do you want a garland of moonlight?
I don't know, but Feyre is probably the most oblivious person I've ever seen or read about in my life, because it is 100% obvious that she's being flirted with on page 162.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, what? Oh, huh?
Maybe she's playing stupid.
Maybe. I don't know.
Sometimes if I was being flirted with and I just didn't want to deal with it, I'd be like,
Well,
oh,
and I guess like her previous experiences, like her and Isaac didn't flirt.
yeah, they were just like
They were just like a sex thing. Yeah. Like,
needs only.
so like I guess, yeah, maybe
Yeah, I get it.
maybe that's it.
I just feel like every single thing that he was like, because he's like, what would make you happy? And she's like, oh, I don't know. And he gives off all these things. Everything's spring related, but the moonlight. Maybe I'm just like assuming that moonlight is more of like a solar area, like night court is what I'm thinking.
Right. I mean, that makes sense.
So like, why would you say moonlight? Why don't you say like a diamond of starlight or something? I don't know, something. Anyways,
the last thing that I wrote down for this chapter was that Phaedra is slowly gaining Lucian's trust. And like just the whole page 166, the whole page.
Oh yeah, like, I had comments about it too.
Where he's like, your first shot was to save the Suriel's life and not your own, and he's like, I know many fairies that wouldn't have done that, and then he gives her the knife, and I think that's like
character development right
huge.
There.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I put. I said at least he starts his character development.
Yeah. And then I like that he's like, I heard your scream and I hesitated. Not long, but I hesitated before I came running. Even though Tam got there in time, I still broke my word in those seconds I waited. It's yours. Don't bury it in my back, please. And I was just like, I really like
the trust.
Yeah. And Lucian and Feyre's relationship is probably my favorite part of this book so far. Like, I just don't.
It's very playful. It's not like flirtatious.
It's friendship. And it's like sassy, sarcasm friendship. And I love it. Because that is the kind of that's the kind of friend I am.
Right. Well, and I feel like once Feyre starts getting comfortable, like being at the spring court, and she kind of gets out of her fight or flight kind of like stance, and she starts like realizing that she can like all of these things. She doesn't need to worry so much about a lot of stuff, just starts living.
Yeah.
I think we start seeing her personality come out a little bit more. Maybe it's a little strained right now at this point, but like we start seeing her more and more as a person and an individual, and I think she just clicks so well with Lucian because he's always been like this.
Right.
And I think he's kind of assisting in some way of getting her out of her bubble.
Yeah, I like that. Well, and I think that she challenges him as well. Like, I don't think he's used to being challenged.
Yeah.
So other than by Tamlin, but like that's different.
Right. I mean, he knows he's got to follow orders and
right.
So like duty.
Being challenged by someone who is his lesser, for lack of a better term, I feel like it's probably good for Lucian.
Knock you down a few steps. Yeah. So for chapter 19 I didn't say much about this until 167. So in this one, this is where she starts getting her like paint supplies. And on 167, I put that I feel like Tamlin didn't really care about being like his father and his brothers, because I think this is where this is like where we learned about like how his family had slaves.
Mm-hmm.
And we start learning about the bond and the bond that his mother and father had. But I just feel like he didn't really care about being like his father and brothers. I think he's just like seeing Feyre as something to use. I
Yeah.
don't think because he's like, oh, I'm not trying to like do this. I'm not trying to be like my father and brothers. Like, I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm like, yeah, but I feel like you're just using her.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because like maybe intentions were in the right place later on, and maybe later on. But like at first, I feel like you were just like, nah, I'm gonna use you.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, and so on page 168, I like that he took her to the gallery and left her there.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I feel like for someone who's into art or, like, passionate about it, you
Just
don't,
being lost.
well, yeah, you don't want someone sitting there, like, interrupting your thoughts. Like, you just want to be able to experience it and express
Breathe
whatever
it in.
emotions that it's going to bring out.
Well, it's kind of like going to like a gigantic library for the first time. Like you just want to like
get out of my face. I just want to read these books.
like I want to sniff them. I want to smell them. I want to see what you got. Like let me see it all. Yeah.
I don't want to talk to you. I just want your books. Goodbye.
I'm only using you for your books. I'm only using you for your paints and brushes and gallery. So I also put on like page 179. We find out during this chapter that we're starting to talk about Callan which is I think the solstice,
something like that. Listen, I have words about that, but we'll come to that later.
Yeah, so we start learning about what Fire Night is. It's a spring ceremony. That they use magic that they create regenerates the land for the year ahead, whatever the case may be. Very fairy like. So anyways, in this we learn that he sent out his warriors to begin with. So like he transformed all his warriors to go out into like the land. And I kind of want to know what you think about that. Like why would Tamlin send him out? Like what was his purpose? What are your ideas and thoughts about it?
I just felt like he was looking for someone or something, like looking for that source of the blight, or looking for her, whoever her may be.
Well, because this is where we hear the Ator. We hear about a creature called the Ator. Oh yeah. And the Ator is from a far off land, but they work with this mysterious she that people are talking about. And yeah, so
because Tamlin glamours her, right, while she's hiding.
Yeah.
Yep.
And glamours the creature itself because it's too feared to be looked upon.
Yeah.
But yeah, it says with one word she could destroy this pathetic estate. She wasn't pleased when she heard of your dispatching your warriors. But as nothing has come of it, she has chosen to ignore it.
Yes, so I'm also going to go back a little bit because I had some stuff before page 171. Okay. So page 171, I have a serious note. Feyre compares her problems to Tamlin's. So she's just an average peasant girl from wherever, and he is a high lord of the fairy court. Whatever.
High lord, yeah.
Don't compare yourself. Like, you can't compare your problems to someone else. Someone always has it worse. Like, just because someone else has had it worse doesn't diminish what's happening to you, and your feelings are valid. Had to go back to that because
that's important.
Yeah. Page 174, the poems. Poems that he made with her list of words.
I think poems are really nice. I appreciate them. But I also get hella awkward reading. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think it's because like I come from a family that like our love language is not words or love language. Yeah. Our love languages are actions. And I mean, just reading it's just like, oh, that's so.
It's just so cringy, and it was making me laugh. And then I really like Tamlin and Feyre as friends. Like,
yeah. They work way better than
because like he made these joking poems making fun of her list of words or whatever.
Oh yeah, there once was a lady most beautiful, spirited if a little unusual. Her friends were few, but how the men did cue. But to all she gave a refusal, and her words were unusual and cue. So in previous chapters, she wrote those down because she was going to go back and like learn what they were, learn how to pronounce them, all of that.
And I liked it because then she like laughed so hard at that once she realized what was happening. And so I like them as friends, but that's it. And then
I feel like my friends would do this. Like my guy friends would
right.
make these stupid.
Oh, Dan would totally do that.
Right? Like I don't want to say stupid. I don't want to say stupid because they come from a place, but like for fun.
Yeah.
I think like my friend Lupe would totally do that.
Like I feel like he did it to be quirky and funny. Like
yeah.
I don't think he was trying to be romantic. He was trying
to
be
if you want to be romantic with Feyre, give her some paints.
Right.
That bitches
and then
love paints.
Leave her alone. Also, I wrote down that mating bond reminds me of like imprinting.
Oh yeah.
Like from
like
Twilight, like when the werewolves imprinted on people or whatever. That's what it made me think of. But you're right. Like imprinting is instantaneous. Like it's not like it doesn't take
one
time.
look at them and it's like
love
at first sight. Yeah.
And then I put I'm very interested in Callan May. Is that
Callan May?
Callan May.
Let me look at the pronunciation in the back. If it's even there.
I wrote what sort of rituals? It sounds like kinky sex stuff. And then we'll come back to that.
Yeah, Callan May.
Callan May.
Callan May.
Okay.
And
then
at Tor.
I was like, the last thing I wrote for this chapter was on chapter 181. I wrote, "Who is she?" in quotation marks. Mm-hmm. We're almost halfway through the book, and I need more information. Like, I feel like
I think it's coming. I think within the next 16 chapters, you'll start learning about who this. Not 16, sorry. Next 8 chapters or so, you'll get maybe a better idea about who it is.
That's good because I am
tired of questioning who this person is.
Yeah, I just feel like other than Callan May, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, I don't feel like much has happened.
Right.
Like he kidnapped her from her house because she killed his friend, and then like nothing has really happened since then. Right. Which I'm sure they're just trying to build characters and things like that. But like I need more action. Substance. Need something.
Well, I mean, we're literally over halfway through the book, so we have little left. So like, yeah, you'll learn about it soon. But
okay.
Anyways,
and then so chapter 20 is where we're at now. Yeah.
Yeah, you never told me your thoughts on him sending out his warriors.
Oh, I just feel like he was like.
Oh wait, you were
looking for something, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's not enough information. I don't know. Right. I need more information.
Which hopefully that comes. Oh no, actually, I don't know if that'll come out soon. I don't know. Anyways, all right, chapter 20.
So on page 184, like the drums are calling Feyre.
Oh, okay. I had stuff to say about this,
and I'm just like, what an idiot. And like, hasn't she learned anything yet about following things in the fairy world? But then I'm like, are the drums calling her because she's a fairy?
Oh yeah, that's a good thought.
I don't know.
See, okay, I had something similar to that. Instead of the drums though, because of the dreams that she's had of some woman's hand at her throat, and I'm like the thought and the idea of this being somebody who, like, what if it's like this person's getting into her head like while she's dreaming? What if the voice that she is saying is calling her is actually like what if that thing is actually real and this voice is calling her to come visit, like come see me,
or just luring her out, knowing what would happen if
she's outside of something. Yeah. Shit's getting deep.
And then when she's walking around at Callan May, I'm like, does she really think that no one's going to notice that she's human?
Well, right. Okay, so I had some of that too. So on page 185, like she's obviously like walking around and she's just like, well, I'm looking at all of these people and I see all this, but it's like, I don't actually see them. I just like, I see shimmery like colors, like it's blurred out. And I'm like, why are they glamored and not her?
Because he didn't expect her to be there.
He's stupid as hell if he doesn't think she's going to show up.
That's what I'm saying. He should have put somebody outside her room, like given her food and had somebody guarding her door.
Which is why I think that he was just going, like, he's just using her. Because, like, he didn't do his due diligence of protecting her in this state, knowing what Callan May is, knowing that she doesn't know what it is.
Or, yeah, just tell her what it is.
Yeah.
If she had the information and she knew ahead of time, she would not have left her room.
No. She would have been like, no thanks, do not want that.
Right.
I'm gonna
Rather
stay
not
here.
get raped tonight, so I'm
Right.
gonna
Right.
stay inside.
So, which it just threw me off, because it's like, you know, you have a human here, and you're gonna have, and like, this is the night where all the courts are allowed to come. Why is she not glamored? Why didn't you not use some of your power to glamour her?
Right.
In
Well,
fear of, maybe, what if someone looked in the window and sees her staring out at, like, what if they get too close to the grounds? Like,
right. Well, and like, not only that, but also knowing that she's an idiot and she doesn't listen. And if you tell her to stay in a room, she's probably not going to do it. Why would you just put her in a sleep or something, like you did for the 2 days that you were traveling? Put her into an enchanted
I didn't think
sleep
about
or
that
something.
either.
Like,
Yeah. Ugh. Anyways, that frustrates me.
yes. That's all I had for chapter 20.
I didn't have anything. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't have anything else. So, chapter 21. My favorite is finally here.
So I put, who is he? Because we never learn his name in the whole thing.
Not yet.
Like, he's just like this cocky dude who's like, yeah, we don't know much about him yet, but
He
I'm like,
radiated sensual grace. He has short black hair that gleamed like raven's flowers, offsetting his pale skin, and blue eyes so deep they were violet even in the firelight, and they twinkled with amusement as he beheld me. And I'm like, love at first sight. That is where a stupid bond would come in.
right?
That's where a bond would come.
I'm inclined to agree with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't have anything else about him, just because, like, I don't know anything else about him other than
Right.
just he seems like, I don't know.
He's very cocky, that is for sure. I'm not gonna lie, I read this book probably within a couple of days of first reading it, but like, reading further into the series and coming back to reread it all, I'm honestly struggling getting through this book, just because I hate Tamlin so much. I hate him. And just like sitting here like, ugh, I have to read this again. Ugh. So I've been like waiting for chapter 21 to come, because I know it's coming, and it's like such a big importance later on in the series. It's perfect.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways.
Yeah, I was wanting to know more about him, and then nothing happened with him, and now he's gone, and I'm like, well, damn it.
Yeah, my feeling at the time, my feelings were like, who is this guy? Like, what's going on? And I had a lot of mixed feelings, because I was obviously like Team Tamlin at first. I mean, so I started hearing about this book series on TikTok, and I had no idea who this like other character was. I knew who Feyre was, just because like she was the main character. And then when I started reading the story, I was like, who's Tamlin? I have never heard this guy.
It's because everyone hates him.
I was like, this is not the same guy in the TikToks I've watched. I'm like, who is that guy in the TikToks? Like, who is he? Had no idea. So then when I started reading the book, I was like, what a fucker. Like, I absolutely hate him. And then, I mean, character development obviously changes that. And character development for I said tampon. I said tampon. For Tamlin, it changes itself. But anyways, yeah. So I've struggled through this book so far just to get to this person. Anyways.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So we kind of already talked about this, but on page 192, Lucien asks Feyre, didn't anyone tell you what this is? Like,
fuck no. No one told me shit.
Maybe if they had told her, she wouldn't have gone there. And then I put, Tam is going to have to be more transparent if he wants to keep her hard-head ass safe.
Right. Well, and here's the thing too. I think she's just super stubborn, and like, no matter what, even if she was told what stuff is all about, she'd probably still go out and explore it just for curiosity reasons.
Yeah.
I'm the same way, but I would probably be a little bit more safe about it if I knew.
Right. Or like, be like, why can't you glamour me? So I'll be like, I don't know. I just,
right. Like, let me someone glamour me so I can enjoy it, like, see what it's all about. I mean, right. I might have, I don't know. Who knows? Anyways.
And then on page 193, that's when Lucien tells her what it is. And I was like, I literally underlined and wrote in all caps, it is a freaky sex thing. I knew it.
Right. So anyone who has not read the book,
spoiler.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Callan May is where, I'm still a little confused on this about if it's all the High Lords of the Court or if it's just Spring. But basically all the females in either all the courts or in the Spring Court come and are basically just chosen. So Tamlin and or other High Lords, I don't know if that's true, but I know at least Tamlin chooses a maiden for that night and has sex with her in a cave that's decked out for this. And all of the power that comes from that
union
union provides all kinds of magic for the land for the year to come. So it happens once a year. They have sex, get some magic, they're good for the year. That's what Calumet is. And so this is where Feyre learns about it. On page 194, I think Lucian's like, if he smells you, he's going to do this and blah, 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 blah. Oh, Tam's not the only one who gets to perform the rite tonight. Oh, okay. So it's anyone and everyone who's there can like have sex with anybody. But like Tamlin's got to like make the choice first. And then they're like free to mingle and do whatever. But I put like, why would Feyre be chosen? Like, I'm thinking like he is like a beast because he obviously won't know who he is. He's got so much power in him. He's choosing somebody who is, I feel like weak. So like, would she be chosen because her like human smell is like a weakness?
I don't know. I was wondering that too. Like, why is he so drawn to her? There's got to be more to it because like
shouldn't it be
he says on page 196 that when he smelled her, like, because she had been there in the forest, like when he smelled her, it drove him mad and he searched for her. And when he couldn't find her, it made him pick another. So like, why is he so drawn to her?
Right.
Is what I don't get.
I just feel like if it's Calumet, it's a fairy thing. Like, why? Like, wouldn't you want other fairies to produce like probably more magic?
Right. Would it even work with Feyre? But also, is she a fairy? Like, I'm not convinced yet that she's not part fairy. Like,
there you go.
Also, like page 196 and 197, I literally wrote, my God. Like, because like this is the first like scene, because book talk and all of that has led me to believe that these books are spicy. And this is the first scene that I was like, oh my.
Spiciness level number 1.
There is the spice.
Yeah, so another spoiler. So through 196, 197, she had literally went to bed without dinner. So she like woke up and she's like, okay, I don't hear the drumming anymore. I think I'm okay to go out and like not necessarily explore, but probably just to like get food. And as she's going down the hallway, she hears something, turns around, and Tamlin's right behind her, pushes her up against the wall. And so she's just kind of trapped there because obviously a lowly human does not have the strength for a High Lord of the Spring Court, especially when he's a beast. And he's like telling her all of this, how he like searched her out and how he's like, I chose somebody else. She wanted me to be rough with her, and I'm just telling you that I wouldn't be rough. I'd be soft and sensual and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what?
He literally says, I would have had you moaning my name throughout it all, and I would have taken a very, very long time, Feyre. And I was like, oh, hello.
Be forward, okay.
But then she says, why would I want somebody's leftovers? And I'm like, yes, girl.
Exactly. Like, excuse me, you didn't have to do this.
Like, did you take a shower? Because get the fuck off of me if you didn't.
She looks at him, and because he had stuff like on his chest, and she could see that his chest was like, you could tell where he's been touched. The paint has been moved and messed with.
Right. And I'm like, no, get away from me with your messy ass dick. Like, what are you doing?
He's got diseases. You could choose any maiden in the land. You don't know what they've been up to. Damn. So,
and then he gives her like a huge ass hickey, which Lucian is going to make fun of in the morning.
Right. Fucking clamps his teeth down onto her neck and just bites.
Like, I'm sorry, Mr. High Fae.
It's like, excuse me, this is like non-consensual. Back up. And then he just looks at her. Don't ever disobey me again. And he just walks away. Get the fuck back here. We're about to fight.
Hold up.
But honestly, good for him, or good for her for slapping him. What a prick.
Yeah. Yeah. I like how she was like sassy about it.
It's like, how dare you touch me? Yeah, but
that being said, on the beginning of chapter 22 on page 198, like Feyre's like, he should feel guilty for bruising me. Like, no, he told you to stay in your room all night and you didn't. Like, and then Lucian told you why you needed to stay in your room all night and you didn't. So
right.
Really, who is this on?
Honestly, although I would be that petty person, and you tell me if it's not petty, but I would be petty and I would cover it up. I would probably try to find like makeup to make it look like it's never happened. Not necessarily like find like a scarf or something, like add clothing to it. I'd probably like be like, yo, someone give me some makeup. I'm gonna cover this shit up. Walk in there like nothing happened. Act like you ignore the behavior. I'm a behaviorist. That you ignore that shit. You do not feed into it. You want to own it, that's fine. You own it. But I'm telling you, that, I mean, clearly they got into an argument a little later about it. But you ignore it like it never happened.
Also, the fact that she felt the need to like get all dressed up and girly for him really made me want to hurl.
Gag. I know.
I was like, no, like be yourself. Like, what are you doing?
And as somebody who has done that in life, I mean, growing up, you go through like hits or misses of relationships. And so like it's a growth process. I did that crap. Yeah. I'd be like, oh, you're into sports? Like, same. And I have the body of not someone into sports.
Or the interest. Like you were just talking earlier about how sports are so boring and they don't hold your interest.
I know. I don't like watching sports. I'd rather play them. And even then I'm like, no, I'm over this. I only did it just so I could say like I played soccer and tennis in high school. So I could be like, yeah, I was a sport person. But no. Honestly. So
I love how though when she walks in and she's all dressed up, Lucian just looks at her and then disappears. Like he just goes. He's like, I got somewhere to be. Bye.
Can't be in here right now.
It just makes me laugh.
So on page 199, I had two things for this page. Let me find it. Okay, so it says, oh, where is it? Basically, he's talking about his claws again, and I'm telling you, it's fucking Wolverine. He's like, basically, his claws are pushed against the skin above his knuckles. What knuckles? There's 3 knuckles on your finger.
Like, is it this one? This one? Like,
is it like by the nail? Is it this one, or is it like Wolverine style?
I feel like it's Wolverine. That's what I imagine when I imagine it. And like, even if you look at like a cat, like if you look at a cat's paw, they have a knuckle under, like almost under their claw.
Yeah.
So like,
oh yeah, and he's got like a feline body.
Yeah. So
yeah,
like,
it says the claws stayed retracted but pushed against the skin above his knuckles. My throat closed up. Oh, he was mad. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because it's funny because he's like, Lucian and I both said not to do that.
Like, we told you multiple times. Well, and then
also, Tamlin, you fucker, you are accountable. You knew what would happen. Like, what is it? So if Feyre can't be bothered to listen to orders, then I can't be held accountable for the consequences. That's a rapist comment right there.
Oh, that is. It is very rapey. And like that's what I said too. Like I feel like you should have put her into a sleep or something. Like, you know, she doesn't listen.
And if you are not going to be, cognizant of yourself because of all the magic going through you, fucking do something about it.
Right. And if you're not, even if like, let's say that you can't put her to sleep because you've got other things going on and you're not gonna be able to focus on keeping the magic on whatever, then like lock her in a room. Like, do something. You're a freaking fairy.
A high lord, no less.
Right. Like, magic her door shut.
Something. Which brings back the point of what I'm thinking. Like, I think he's just using her. I don't really think he cares. I think he's using her for to gain something.
Right. But what is that? Yeah. But I think I kind of think that too, but I keep going back to like, who is she? Because clearly there's something important about her. She's not just some random girl. I mean, she is, but she's not.
There's something powerful about her.
Yeah, there's something about her. But going into that too, how like he should have locked her in. I love that she asked for a key and locks the door to her painting room like she doesn't live in a house full of magical fairies. Like, what?
They'll probably a little more of that shit.
Right? Could they not just magic the door open?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I just feel like Tamlin was very aware during that specific encounter where he bit her.
Yeah.
Because he explained everything. He goes, man, this is how I felt. This is that. Like blah blah blah. Don't ever disobey me again. Like you fucking bite her as a punishment.
Right. Yeah, it's a way of controlling her and a way of
True
being.
love.
No, but I am like you can see it, but like looking at my notes on page 204 to 207, I kind of start to see them, and I get where they kind of are attracted to each other.
Yeah,
Mainly because he sees her like
as more than just the wild beast that her sister Nesta has called her.
well, yeah, and like when they're talking about the paintings, the painting of her forest, that like she wanted to give him the painting of the Glen.
Oh yeah,
and he asked for the one of her forest, and it said he says that was your forest where you hunted. This was your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like he sees her.
I honestly feel like she should have shown because after that whole encounter from like that morning, she had went and painted pictures of Lucian and Tamlin as with pig features because she called them fairy pigs. I would have been like, I was pissed off at you this morning. You can have one of those.
Right? Here you go. This is what you get. Self-portrait or a portrait of you.
Yeah. Oh, what is it? Oh, they were talking about like she wanted to know everything. She wants to know, and he goes, no, it's my burden to bear. It's like, okay, but can you like not say something? Like I understand like maybe you are bound by magic of not being able to say anything because like they're bound by masks, so like maybe they have to mask the truth for a lot of things. But also like can't you like you were able to say something about the blight, like why can't you just like try a little harder to explain
Right.
stuff? And then
I honestly think he could. He just wants to control her.
right.
And everybody knows like information is power.
Mm-hmm. Well, and she's even like trying to open up to him, like you don't have to be the bearer of like this hardship. Like let me try or whatever. And he like cuts her off and is like, I do when I have to face what I have to face, what I endure, Feyre, you would not survive. But then it's like, okay, but she's supposed to live her entire freedom in this place by herself in ignorance of what is happening when her family could be affected by this. Like she doesn't know. She's got this innate ability to protect and you are preventing that. So like she's becoming a wild animal right now because you're being an asshole.
Right? Well, and I feel like that's part of why they get each other and why they're drawn to each other too, because like they both know what it's like to have people depending on them.
Sure.
And they both have like that hero complex too. Like instead of relying on anybody else, they want to be the one to fix everything and to do everything.
Sure. Yeah. I also like the comment, didn't Callan May teach you anything? Only that magic makes you a brute.
Yes.
I love that quote. Oh, there was what was it? There was something else on 206. There I wrote something down where it was like Favor said try me bitch, but I can't figure out where I put it. Do you have anything else for that chapter?
I don't.
Oh no. Oh, here it is. He laughed, though not entirely with amusement. When I remained silent, he sighed, no, I don't want you to live somewhere else. I want you here where I can look after you, where I can come home and know you're here painting and safe. I think in that area, she was just like, try me.
Right.
I'm going to fucking do it. Like, whether you like it or not.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. So that's chapter 22. Chapter 23, I only wrote down one thing or two things.
Same.
Like, wait, hold on. Let me look at what I was talking about here because I don't understand my notes.
Well, we meant to do a break earlier, but we never did.
Oh, yeah. We didn't do a break. Oh, break time.
You can go ahead and look that up.
Okay, you do a break
So, side note, sorry about that. We try to do breaks like halfway through and we just got on a tangent and just didn't do it. But anyways, if you're listening to us, thank you so much for joining us and listening to us ramble and go on and on and on about our complaints of this book and our love and hates. But check out our Facebook, A Court of Witches, on Facebook. We're also on Instagram, same name. And if you want to subscribe to our Patreon and kind of help us out with getting new books or kind of getting cool new stuff through the 3 different tiers we offer, go ahead and go on to patreon.com and look up A Court of Witches and see what you like and subscribe there. We're working on our YouTube channel. It's kind of slow going just because of quality of our mics and locations in our video recording system. So that's why we have a Patreon. It kind of helps us out in getting more equipment to kind of bring better video quality and crisp, clear audio to you. We also have a fun fact or something to do with Black History Month, right?
It's not Black History Month. I did not get that one. But I do have a random fun fact. And it is that the Eiffel Tower can be up to 15 centimeters taller during the summer due to thermal expansion, where the iron heats up and the particles gain kinetic energy and take up more space. So it's cool.
Listen, I forgot that can be a thing.
Right?
Science is crazy.
It really is. Okay. Whew. Okay. Back to the book. Now, I am super annoyed with Tamlin because you could have shared your magic with her the whole time so she could see things like she's an artist. She loves colors and all of that. So you could have shared your magic with her so everything would be so much more intense this whole time, and you just didn't. And then I was like, is this how she becomes a fairy?
Oh, yeah.
Because could he even share magic with her if she wasn't already part fairy? I'm having all these screwed up theories coming out of it.
I had a lot to say about Feyre's description of Tamlin and what he might look like. Honestly, I feel like if you look online at a lot of the places, there's a coloring book of this book series, and in it just shows that Tamlin has a mask that covers his eyes, and she's like, you have a straight nose, you have high cheekbones, bitch. The eyes are being covered, and that's really all there is. You know what he looks like. You just don't know what's really underneath the mask section, but you know what he looks like,
right?
So, I mean, from what it's been, maybe not necessarily described in the book, but what it's been shown on the coloring pages that are offered for the series, it's just a simple covering.
Yeah,
it's just a simple mask.
Yeah, I can
you could buy it for $2 at Halloween City,
right?
It's real simple.
Yeah, I don't know.
Kudos to her for wanting to describe him and get in depth with that, but not necessary.
Right. And then he says something on page 212 about Feyre being exactly as he dreamed.
Yes, I talked about that.
What? What do you mean?
Have you been watching her for a long period of time? Did you know her prior? Who is he dreaming of, and why?
Right, why did he dream of her before? And that's what I'm saying. Vision? That's what I'm right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So is she? Who is she? And why did he dream of her before he went to her house and kidnapped her?
It makes it seem you know how one character, not one character, but one person lives one life, and then it reincarnation comes back later on. That's what it appears at this point in the story. It looks as if she has been reincarnated and he finally found her.
Yeah, I don't know, but the whole thing was just trippy, and I was like, what?
And maybe that's why he sent out all his troops, because
maybe to find her,
because that's the same person.
Maybe.
Weird. Anyways,
no,
that's all I had for 23.
Me too. That was it. Chapter 24.
Ooh, our last chapter.
Okay, yes, and this is where things start to get interesting, because now I find out that Alice doesn't look like a human.
Listen, I had a lot of words to say about this.
So maybe she's not high fae, because we talked about that. How I was like, well, Alice has to be high fae because the high fae all look humanoid. Well, she's not high fae. She doesn't look humanoid. That's just what Tamlin made her look like.
Here's the thing. Why did Tamlin make her look white? Because
she's like a tree. Her skin is tree bark or whatever.
The color of tree bark.
Right.
So she's black.
Right.
She's dark skin. So it's she didn't recognize Alice with her skin color because she was fair. So she even described the Alice I knew was fair and plump and looked like a high fae. And then, but this one had, what is it? Oh, a squat woman with skin made from tree bark. It's like, well, maybe it is made from tree bark. Like maybe it is kind of like that.
Right.
But honestly, a lot of the, like the concept
Right. Dark to
pictures
light.
were
Yeah.
just like dark.
Yeah.
It's just like a black woman. And honestly, I feel like her personality is way more that of like I think she's more of like a plump black woman. Like she's sassy like one.
Yeah.
She tells it like it is.
I could see that. Yeah. And
so
then
I was just like, why?
Also the fact that there's just like always been tons of servants around that can see Feyre that she can't see. Like, what if I was just in the hall by myself and I farted because I thought I was alone, but there's actually like 40 people around, and now I'm just like crop dusted all these poor servants because I didn't know they were there. Like, this is the things that I imagine. Or my butt itched, so I scratched it, and now like all these people just watched me do that. Like, these are the things I think about, guys.
My biggest takeaway from this is the fact that it was so secretive.
Right, like why? I get like, oh, you're not trying to overwhelm her or scare her, but like
She's a big girl.
Well, and I would be more overwhelmed and scared when I realized that all these motherfuckers have been here this whole time and I didn't know it.
Right, like that's like trust being
right. Were they in my room? Were they?
Was I aware of when I was like in the bathroom being changed? Like
right, like
it's like she's a big girl. She willingly went deep into the woods to survive. She not necessarily was super close to the wall, but she knew the deeper she went, the closer she went, and the likelihood of a fairy sighting. And she like took down a gigantic ass wolf. Didn't know it was a fae at the time, but still.
And then she like willingly came with you to save her family's lives. Like,
she's a big girl. She can fucking deal with it.
Well, and that if she's gonna live here for the rest of her life, she needs to know that there are more people here. Like,
right. And listen, like growing up in the human world and hearing all kinds of horrors from like I guess anybody and everybody that lives in the human world, I feel like seeing a fairy with like mosquito like wings is not going to deter her from surviving in this.
Right.
I'd rather see these looking kind of like fairies than the terrifying like Naga. Right. Or the bogey, whatever that thing looks like. I wouldn't want to see those. Or the Ator, like you'll hear like the description later on. I won't want to hear that shit.
Right.
Damn it. I'm fine with any other one. Like you want to look like a tree, you have tree bark skin, that's fine with me.
Well, and like that's what she was expecting, right? Coming in, and then everybody looks like high fae. So I feel like they'd heard so many
false sense.
Right. Well, and they'd heard so many bad things about the high fae and how brutal and horrible they were. I feel like that would be more scary to her than seeing lesser fae.
What a terrible person.
And then can we talk about the fact that a head on a spike is a prank? They were like, haha, it's just a prank.
Oh, before that though.
Oh, okay. That was my next note.
216, page 216. I put, so during this part we also hear like, or I guess this is part of what is it? Like when we learn about that there's like a head on like outside on a fountain, but like prior to that she was like trying to cope with everything, and she's talking to Tamlin like, I need to know about this, I need to know more about it. And like I just like, of course he's shutting her out. Like at least say what you can say so you know she won't do something stupid trying to be helpful. Because if she knows the dangers of what could happen, she might be able to avoid those dangers, but think of a better opportunity to help.
Yes.
And I understand like maybe he's like blinded by magic and he can't actually say anything. But like you were able to tell her that there's a blight in the land. Like you don't have to specifically say like, is it a female or is it a male or is it a beast or is it something from a far off land? Is it something from a different dimension? Like you don't have to say shit like that. Just say like, listen, there's a terrible evil in the world and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And these are the reasons why I can't say anything. But like he's shutting her out. And it's like, okay, the next day you wake up to a fucking head on a spike. And this is why you say something. So like that person is prepared.
Right. Like, well, and like, I don't know. And then they're just like, it was just a prank from the night court and yada, yada, yada.
And I'm just
like, I'm just like, why is that a prank? Like, that's not funny. Like, I don't. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't agree with the prank, but I still love the night court. Even at this time, before I actually read about what the night court was and learned more about all the courts in the land, I still really like the night court. I am just a night person. I am more active at night. I am more alive and awake, and I don't know. The moon powers me.
I hear that.
Anyways,
And then I'm like, why is the blight getting worse again? Like, I just don't. I feel like there's so much that's not explained that I'm like,
getting frustrated.
yeah, I'm a little frustrated right now. I need more information.
Yeah, so on page 219, we're talking about we're talking about the aftermath of the head that's been found. And Tamlin's like, don't worry, you're still safe here. Don't worry about it. And it's like, she just found out there's so many more fairies in this land that she never even saw to begin with. And now this shit's happening. I probably would not trust you at this point.
Mm-mm.
I mean, she's kind of stupid and she does trust him, but whatever the case may be. And so she's learning more about the court politics of it all. And she goes and says, you never made me feel like a prisoner. Okay, that's victim talk right there.
Right.
He straight up said, you cannot go back. If you go back, I will kill your family. Well, maybe not I will, but your family will be killed. Your family will not be, essentially, because your family will not be taken care of. You will have to go back to doing anything and everything. And she doesn't have an ash arrow anymore because it fucking burned. So now what?
Right.
And but then I thought well, am I reading into it too much? But then no, that's enabling.
No, 100%.
I think she was a prisoner in its own way.
Right, and he says you can leave my lands or whatever, but then
no protection whatsoever.
Right, then she's on her own.
What would have happened if the Naga got her if she was brave enough to leave that night? The first night she was there and she left. What?
Oh, the puka or whatever it was called?
Well, yeah, the puka, because it said that she would have been eaten slowly, but I'm thinking the Naga, the 5 of them or something like that, right. When she went to talk to the spirit, what if they found her? That would have been absolutely
with no weapons or anything. Yeah,
that would have been a lot of crap to clean up.
Ugh.
But so it just frustrates me because it's it's death either way.
Right.
She has no other choice but to stay with him. And it's I understand that's might not be a prisoner of war or somebody who's in actual jail, that kind of prison. But it's your freedom outside of this area, this is all you're ever going to know. You're not allowed anywhere outside of it without being accompanied by someone.
Yeah, it's so very much like Beauty and the Beast, because Belle can't leave the castle or the grounds, right. And I just feel it's very much like Beauty and the Beast, and it's very much she is a prisoner. Mm-hmm. Even though it's this opulent prison, I actually have read this series called Carvel.
Carvel. Never heard it.
It's really good, but they have the fates, and one of the fates is imprisoned in a gilded cage. So she has this golden cage and all this fancy stuff, but she's in a freaking cage.
Right.
Yes, it's fancy, it's nice, it's comfortable, but
it's
you're still a cage.
Right. And it's unless they purposely want to be there,
right.
But I don't know. There's so now that we're kind of talking about Beauty and the Beast and all that and Stockholm Syndrome. There is an artist called Arcana. I think that's how you pronounce it. But it's Arcana. She's got a song called Stockholm Syndrome.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you told me.
And I swear to God, it's either she's a Beauty and the Beast. Well, okay, I think it's a Beauty and the Beast fan song because the artwork is a rose. However, there's roses in the book because Tamlin's father gave it to the mother. Yeah. So
and the whole book is called A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Yeah, because it's there at the spring court. But all I'm saying is that it's actually a really good song, and it just kind of it kind of talks about I know I feel at home, but I don't feel like it's home. Kind of talk, and then she's Stockholm Syndrome.
Yes, you played that for me, and it made me think of this book.
Right. So I know she is actually coming out with a A Court of Thorns and Roses album with all kinds of songs made for that. And there's actually quite a few songs that we haven't talked about yet. There's another song that will come up in the book A Court of Thorns and Roses. That's also a really good one. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there that I don't know I stumbled upon.
Nice.
But yeah, anyways,
All right. So that is chapters 17 through 24. Next week we'll do 25 through 32. 25 through 32. And like Emily said during the break, don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram. We have Patreon, our Buzzsprout website, all of those things. A Court of Witches. You can find us on almost every podcast streaming service except for Apple Music or Apple Podcasts and Pandora, but we are working on those. Yeah, that's about it. So join us next week.
It's gonna be fun.
Bye.